The last time I cleaned out my kitchen cupboards, I was very happy with the results. I got rid of a lot of outdated and unused items and organized what was left. Oh, it felt great. I left the cupboard doors open just so I could survey my new arrangement and celebrate the progress as I looked around. And then I spotted a door that was closed. I had missed one. Has that ever happened to you? It wasn't a big deal. It was the little narrow cupboard in which I keep the cling wrap and the cooking bags and stuff like that. I was able to quickly tidy that cupboard too. But that's what we want to do today. I want to point out a few remaining subjects in your homeschool and help you transition them to the Charlotte Mason method too. Welcome to the Simply Charlotte Mason podcast. I'm Sonia Schaefer. We've been talking about how to ease into the Charlotte Mason method in your homeschool little by little. We've talked about stages 1 through 3 already, the basics, once a week, and everyday subjects. I recommend you listen to those episodes if you haven't already. Check the description for links. But today, we're moving on to stage 4, and I like to call this one the checkup stage. At this stage, I want you to look at just 3 remaining subjects and check on them to make sure that you're using Charlotte Mason methods. Those subjects are science, math, and language arts. Let's start with science. The way that you would teach science in a Charlotte Mason approach is through living books and narration. Sound familiar? Yep, we already talked about those methods in stage 1. You can refer back to that episode if you need a refresher. Now, I often get asked, where can I find good living science books? No worries. We have a great list on our website. Check the description for a link. You want to pair those living books and narration with nature study. And you're already doing nature study if you've completed stage 2, the things that we do once a week. So make sure you're doing both. Now, in the upper level sciences, around grades 7 through 12, you're going to start making a transition. It's hard sometimes to find a good living science book that has accurate, up-to-date scientific information, that's not filled with evolution, and that actually helps the child learn how to do those upper level sciences. Many of the good living books at that level will only tell about a particular science. For example, they tell about chemistry or about biology, but they don't give the child practice in the math aspects and actually doing chemistry or biology or physics. So in those upper grades, we recommend getting a conversational textbook. It will help your student understand those upper level sciences well. And it will also help him make that transition to textbooks. If he's planning on doing further education upon graduation, he's going to need an introduction to textbooks somewhere along the way. Charlotte used some textbooks with her older students. So make sure that it's a conversational textbook, one that's very conversational in its tone, not just a fact dump. As always, we have linked our favorites in the description. That's the first checkup. Check on your science materials and make sure they're the right stuff, that they fall in line with the Charlotte Mason approach. The next subject that we want to check on is math. Math in a Charlotte Mason approach uses everyday objects from around the house as manipulatives for the kids to actually see how the math works. They start thinking mathematically as they see the concepts demonstrated in front of them. But then, as soon as they can, we set aside those manipulatives. Math should be done with short lessons, and by that I mean, in the younger elementary grades, about a 15-minute lesson for a new concept, with a 5-minute review, mental math lesson at the end. So, 20 minutes total. As the kids get older, you can stretch that time guideline out gradually, but try not to have your younger kids sitting down doing a worksheet for an hour a day. That is not a Charlotte Mason approach to math. In math, as in other subjects. Charlotte Mason wanted the teacher, the parent, to interact with the student. It's a wonderful opportunity to build that relationship with your child and to see for yourself whether she's getting it, whether she's understanding. Math should not be worksheet driven. Don't just give your child a worksheet. In the lower grades especially, there's very little handwriting done in a Charlotte Mason math lesson. Now, I know that's kind of a foreign concept to many of us who were brought up on math worksheets. But just as we use oral narration in those younger grades and not any written narration, that methodology carries over into math lessons as well. Most of the math is done orally with the parent, and very little handwriting is required. In those younger grades, the kids are still having to focus intensely on their handwriting. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of mental concentration, and we don't want to steal that concentration away from the math and give it to the handwriting. So we remove that obstacle out of the younger student's way and put it to the side so they can focus on thinking mathematically. You want to make sure that they're learning the why behind the how. It's not just, well, here's how you do this particular thing, use this formula, and you can figure out the answers on your worksheet problems. No. Charlotte wanted students to know the why behind it, to really think mathematically. Memorization happens after the students have explored the why behind the addition and subtraction and multiplication and division facts. Weights and measures are explored in a hands-on way, and even geometry is introduced practically. Where can you find a math curriculum like that? Check the description for a link to our Charlotte Mason math curriculum, and a link to a great article by one of the authors. It's a fabulous approach, and there's nothing else quite like it. The third subject to check on is language arts. You've already been doing some language arts. The poetry that you're reading once or twice a week, that's language arts. The literature book that you're reading every day with your family, that's language arts. The oral narrations that your students are doing for history and geography and Bible and that you're going to be doing for science, those are language arts. Narration is oral composition. So you already have a lot of language arts integrated into the other subjects. What I want you to focus on now and do a little checkup on is just a couple of other areas of language arts. First, handwriting. Make sure the resources you are using for handwriting are doing a few things. First, it's keeping the passages very short. We want to focus on quality over quantity. Remember, we're cultivating those habits of full attention and best effort. So we want our students to give their very best handwriting. And if they do that, they're done. Don't overtax them by giving them a whole sheet that they have to write or making them write for 10 minutes. Have you ever tried writing for 10 minutes solid? It makes your hand hurt. So keep those handwriting lessons short. Second thing is that they should be giving your student ideas, not just dry facts. Ideas feed the mind. Let them write words from Scripture, from hymn lyrics, good poetry, passages from those good literature books, words that contain great ideas that will feed their minds even as they're practicing their penmanship. A second area that I want you to check your language arts in is what you're using for spelling. In Charlotte Mason's approach, the students do not do formal spelling lessons until they are 10 years old. Now, they are doing some spelling before that, in their reading lessons and even in their handwriting. That helps them with their spelling. But when the student turned 10 years old, Charlotte Mason introduced prepared dictation, which mainly focuses on spelling. Now, I hope you noticed that word prepared dictation. It's not cold turkey dictation. Charlotte did not want the students just guessing at how to spell a word. Such guessing sets up eternal debates. Now, we all have some words that to this day we can't remember how to spell correctly. Let's see, is that one E-R or A-R? Because we've seen it both ways, and it has set up two different images in our minds. Charlotte wanted to avoid that situation for students as much as possible. So she had the students study the passage ahead of time. When it's time for the dictation lesson, you make sure that the student knows how to spell the words first before you ever dictate the passage. Watch for that area of language arts and make sure that it's in line with Charlotte Mason methods. Then the third area of language arts that I want you to check is English grammar. Again, Charlotte did not introduce this subject until the student was 10 years old, just like dictation. And when she did introduce it, it was very straightforward. This is a noun. A noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or idea. Then she would bring in good literary passages for the student to practice with. For example, there are 3 italicized words in this poem. Tell me which one of those is a noun. Exercises like that bring in living ideas along with the grammar lessons. Now, these language arts methods may seem like small tweaks, but they can make a big difference. One other thing that I'd like to mention. If you have students who are 10 years old or older, start making a transition to have them do some written narrations once they're comfortable with oral narrations. Hopefully by this stage, you have become comfortable with the idea of using narration along with your living books for history and for Bible and now for science. Once the older kids have gotten a grasp on that oral narration, have them start writing some of those. Those written narrations will be fine-tuned and turned into formal compositions once they reach high school. But in the meantime, give them lots of practice writing their narrations. I encourage you to watch the video, The Natural Progression of Language Arts. It will really help you see how Charlotte laid out this whole progression from preschool all the way up to high school. It makes total sense when you see the big picture of when each part of language arts comes in and how they build on the foundation that was already laid. And of course, if you need language arts resources that align with these methods, check the description for links. So your assignment for Stage 4, make sure that the materials you are using for science, for math, and for language arts agree with the Charlotte Mason method. If any of them don't agree, make changes in them as you feel comfortable and as you're ready. Next time, we'll look at the final stage for making the transition. But take just a minute to look at all the subjects in which you've already made the switch. History, Bible, geography, picture study, music study, nature study, poetry, literature, scripture memory. And with this stage, you'll be including math, science, and language arts, too. Really, by the end of Stage 4, you'll be doing mostly Charlotte Mason. The final stage is just going to be icing on the cake. Some final subjects that you can add in if you want to and as you feel ready. We'll talk about those next time. Thanks for joining me.